I get a lot of questions on what steps I took to really elevate and separate myself so that my business would continue seeing massive success. So I'm here to tell you the 7 different aspects of wellness that I focus on to make this possible. Last year, I had a great year. I closed around 82 land deals and mentored 43 students for them to close their own deals. And I even bought my own house, which is a great accomplishment. When I closed on my house and I finally moved in, I immediately started decorating and I looked around and I just didn't feel balanced. And I couldn't figure out what it was that was causing me to feel that way. I talked to some of my friends. I went to therapy just to really figure out and pinpoint where that feeling was coming from. And we went through the different aspects of life. And that really opened my eyes to seeing that there's more to life than just obviously making money and having, financial freedom. So I really want to talk about what steps that I took to get back on track so that way I can continuously show up as the entrepreneur that took massive action in my business. So for me personally, I just remember feeling that anxiety of not knowing what was wrong, but having that feeling that there was obviously an issue. And I guess, just feeling that overwhelming sensation caused me to, like I said, have anxiety. And even though I closed on my home and was able to furnish it and get everything that I needed for the house, I still was feeling that uneasiness about being in this house by myself. I also think because I moved into the home on my own, I normally was always moving in with my sister or like a roommate and I never lived on my own before. So I think making such a big purchase and then kind of moving away and doing this all on my own, it scared me a little bit. And I felt like I couldn't do this without someone. And in reality, the issue was just the fact that I didn't have a plan when I was moving in. I was just kind of going with the flow, purchased this home, got in pretty quick, decorated it, and then just kind of left feeling a little empty, a little ashamed, not really as happy as you think I would be. And that's kind of where it all started. I knew there was an issue and I knew I had to get help. So that's when I started consulting with my therapist and we really dove into those different 7 aspects. So the first aspect I want to cover is your mental. That's talking about your mental clarity, your mental guidance, your understanding, knowing that you have someone that can listen to you in the times of need. Just knowing that someone is going to be there for you whenever you need a listening ear. Have friends and they use their friends as an outlet, like they're supposed to be the therapist, and they really shouldn't. You should have a therapist and then you should have friends and you should have people that you can talk to about, just anything that you want to talk about. But I don't believe that blending the two should be a thing. So having that mental clarity is definitely important, especially when, being an entrepreneur, you are the leader, you are the person that provides for so many. And sometimes that can get really overwhelming, having to be the leader, and you have bad days, but you still have to put a smile on your face. It just gets very overwhelming. So just having someone there. So the mental is definitely super important. Now, the second aspect of life I want to cover is your physical well-being. Okay. So your physical is obviously your body, right? So what things I did to change my physical was last year, I'm not going to lie, I ended up getting liposuction, thinking that was going to help it. And I wasn't happy. I still wasn't happy. Even after getting the lipo, I ended up gaining my weight back, now having to work out and get back on my, healthy girl shit. And it wasn't an easy or pretty journey. I'm still in the process of getting that. Honestly, the physical aspect of life is probably my most hardest one I'm dealing with now till this day, just because of one, we're an entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneurs, we're eating out all the time. It's so difficult to sometimes meal prep because we're on the go. We're super busy. It's easier to grab and go and call Uber Eats versus actually, sitting down and making a meal. I just didn't have time for that. So for me, I let go of my physical a lot. And now that I know that, it's important that I make those changes, right? It's not fun to make all this money and have all the other aspects balanced, but then you're physically not looking the way you want to look. So that's one of the biggest aspects of life for me. And then just really planning out everything about the physical. So down to nutrition, exercise, going to the doctors, dentists, like seeing all of those, the different doctors there are for your body. Okay, tracking to see what's going on with your body, seeing that there's things that are changing as we get older. I'm now turning 30, so I'm seeing different things about my body that I didn't see before. So there's a lot that comes with it, but it's super important not to neglect the physical body. So that's one of the aspects of life that I always want to make sure I review each and every day. I recently been into ordering like HelloFresh, like the done for you meal kit services, where they come to my home. I pick out my meals online. They drop the food off at my door every Sunday, and I can then track my calories, track what it is that I'm eating, trying new things, because I think that's another thing that I got bored with, was constantly going to the grocery store and getting the same things, and it just gets boring, ends up sitting in my fridge, and I don't even make it because I'm not in the mood for it anymore. So having that quick meal service ready for you just to make, that's something that's really helped me as well. Another thing that's really helped me, and I know this is a little expensive and not everyone can do this right now, but I eventually bit the bullet and got a personal trainer to come to my home. So now they come to my home 3 days a week, sometimes 4. They do the workouts here at my house. They bring all the equipment. Like I said, it's a little expensive, but I was the type of person that would get different gym memberships and not use them consistently like I was supposed to. So I had to almost like punish myself and say, like, because you're not taking action, you have to get someone to do this for you. And that's like the only thing that's been working, physically having someone come to my home and do the workouts with me. And then hiring a nutritionist is another big one. So I recently hired a nutritionist to go along with my trainer, so they work together. I had to get, blood work done, labs, all of that, and just make sure that I'm doing the best workouts and eating the right things that work for me and my body. Now, the third aspect of life I want to talk about tends to get a little deep, so I'm not going to go too deep, but it is spirituality. Now, my spirituality over the last year and a half has literally been all over the place. I've been hanging out with a lot of different friends and just seeing their perspective on spirituality, just trying new things now that I'm like old enough to just really understand and process the different, ways of worship and just understanding spirituality in general. I feel like I've been more spiritually connected since kind of just analyzing what it is that I want to do. I think it's important to try different things, especially when you're young. Try different things in ways to feel spiritually connected, and then do whatever works best for you. I don't recommend you feeling like you have to follow what you grew up in. I grew up a Christian, in a very strict Christian household, I could say. And yes, it had a lot of great benefits, being that I was very sheltered, I guess you could say, but at the same time, now it's affecting me as an adult. So now that I'm an adult, I felt like I needed to kind of take a hold of my spirituality and kind of do what was best for me. So the steps I took was, number one, was just kind of play around. It's okay to try different things and see what works best for you. I'm still on a spiritual journey. I'm not 100% where I want to be yet, but I know that with the work that I'm doing now to heal my mental state, to heal all the things that I'm struggling with, will help me get there. So I know that one day I'll be spiritually where I want to be. Now, the fourth aspect of life is your social. Now, social meaning relationships, friendships, all of that. Now, for me, to be honest, I've always struggled with friendships because, especially lately, ever since being an entrepreneur, I felt like my growth as a business owner has been a lot faster than a lot of people. And because of that, I'm constantly elevating all the time. Always leveling up, constantly leveling up financially and just in general. And I prefer to be around like-minded individuals. So in this journey of being an entrepreneur, I have had a lot of friends. I have had a lot of business partners. I've had a lot of all of that. And they all serve their purpose. That's another thing I loved about that, is they all serve their purpose. Just because you let go of a friendship or a relationship doesn't mean that you have to have a hate inside of you against that person. As adults should be able to have the ability to befriend someone, and if they don't serve you anymore, you can let them go without feeling like there's some type of animosity there. I can definitely say that I'm a huge giver, and that has been one of the biggest issues I feel like as far as my friendships goes. I feel like ever since I became an entrepreneur, I have met a lot of great connections. I have a lot of business opportunities, a lot of ways to make money with those individuals. At first, I was definitely very guarded when I got into real estate and entrepreneurship in general because I wasn't sure if the friendship was genuine. But after doing this for so long, you kind of see that people are just like you, trying to connect the pieces, trying to level up, trying to make more income. And everyone has different paths, different journeys that they've taken to get there. And that's one thing I appreciate about, really diving into this aspect of, socialism or friendships and business. Something that I will say about this aspect is it's very important to be able to decipher whether a person has good intentions or whether they have bad intentions. And just kind of look at your friend group. Do they serve a purpose in your life? Do they bring value to the relationship, to the friendship? You don't want to be in relationships where you feel like you're putting in a lot of the effort and they're not putting in any effort, and that you're always having to reach out and they're not reaching out to you ever to do anything. I think it's important to just make sure that you're not the one that's always putting in that effort. I've been in situations where I've had friends who saw me coming up, starting to make money, and they want to learn from me. They want to see what it is that I'm doing. You put them on, obviously, because they're your friends, but essentially, they'll come in and they'll do things that, you didn't expect them to do, whether it's in business and in friendship. And, it just ends up tainting the relationship, and then you're no longer friends anymore because you're kind of mixing that business and friendship. So I'm super big now that I've done this for so long, but I'm super big on not mixing friendship with business anymore. Like, I don't do that anymore. If you are my friend, you are my friend. If you're in business with me, we're just in business together. Mixing the two, personally, I've had really bad experiences with it. And maybe it's a me thing. Maybe I might change that along the ways. But for right now, like, I'm in a season where I'm like, I don't want to mix the two. And that's okay. Now, the fifth aspect of life I want to talk about is environmental. And this is super important for me. I'm huge on this, and I've always been this way since I was young, was just having my home, my dwelling, my space look a certain way, feel a certain way, and just be clean and organized. I believe that having a clean and organized environment and space really helps that productivity level. I noticed that whenever my home's a mess or my room's a mess or just things are cluttered and all over the place, I have that anxiety. I feel like there's a lot that I need to do, just that cloudy feeling. For me personally, this was easy for me to kind of analyze because I'm already a very OCD, clean, and structured person in my home. And in my car, and everything that I do is just pretty neat and tidy, but just knowing what things I can put in place to make things easier for me. So down to I've hired an assistant. I got my closets organized, because I had an issue with laundry at one point. Just getting things in order can allow you to have that productivity level go way higher. So maybe analyzing your space, looking around and saying, okay, can I do better here? Or what's slowing me down in the mornings to get ready? Is it my laundry or not having this done or not having that done? And just kind of looking at different ways you can change things to make things easier for you in a day-to-day basis. That can make or break your day. Now, the sixth aspect of life I want to talk about is your business or career. Now, evaluating your business and career life is super important. You don't want to be stuck at a dead-end job where you're not happy. I feel like a lot of people get stuck in this rat race and are not happy with the day-to-day career path that they ended up choosing. I remember watching my father get up every single day to go work for a job that he genuinely hated. It eventually took a toll on his health to where he was developing health issues because of a job that he hated going to. And I remember telling myself, I never want to be like that. I never want to be at a job that I genuinely hate and don't want to be at. So I made it a point when graduating college to be in a career path where I could eventually use these skill sets later on. So I got into teaching and quickly realized that I was about to burn out. And when I burnt out as a teacher, I took action to get myself out of that situation. Typically, I see it where people end up just staying there because they don't think that there's other options out there or they're too scared. But I was the type of person where I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to relive or do the same thing that my parents are doing as far as being in a job that they are not happy with. So I took that leap of faith and betted on myself, trusted in myself. So what I did from there was decided to start my own real estate business. And as you guys know now, I am doing very well for myself, which I'm so grateful to say, but it didn't come easy. I had to put in so much time, energy, and sacrifice, and still am working in this business to make sure that it's going to continue growing. For me, when starting my business, there was a lot of difficulties that I had to go through as far as adjusting from being a 9-to-5 worker to now being an entrepreneur. One of the things was managing myself. We started off in school as students being managed by our teachers and administration, then going to college with the same mentality, and then starting a job having that same mentality as far as being the employee and having management or a boss over you. So when you start your own business, you have to be your own boss. You have to manage your own time. And sometimes I caught myself working harder for that 9-to-5 than I was as an entrepreneur for my own business and for my own self. So that was something that I really had to learn to overcome because I got very comfortable. I would tell myself, it's okay. I could just take a day to just go to Target, get my nails done and get my hair done and just chill. And ideally I should have been like hustling and grinding and working just like I would if I was working that 9-to-5, working overtime in my business. So that adjustment was really difficult. Now, the seventh aspect of life that I want to talk about is financial. Now, financial is very, very big. This is an area where I struggled with when starting out as an entrepreneur. And I had to realize that my relationship with my finances was a direct relationship that I had with myself. So I really had to analyze myself first and kind of do the inner work that it was needed for me to know, okay, my finances is something that cannot be played with, and I need to use money as a tool versus using it as a way to live a lifestyle that I couldn't uphold. It took me a while to get to that point. Being in real estate, I created a method that allowed me to make fast money. And making that fast money kind of got to my head, I would say, to where I would close deals, make money, and then spend it just as fast as I made it, to where I was constantly back into that rat race. And it just essentially was like I was working still a 9-to-5 because I had to continuously grind and grind and grind in order to close deals and make ends meet. Now, it didn't take me too long because I did that multiple times and eventually got the concept that my finances is super, super important. So it's very important to make sure that you're analyzing your finances every single day. I look at my bank account every single day to know what it is that I'm able to spend, having those different bank accounts to know what funds are allocated for what. There's a really good book I want to mention. It's called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Profit First has completely changed my outlook on money. It really talks about paying yourself first, especially being entrepreneurs. We tend to put so much money out into our businesses, into our bills, into our expenses, and then just kind of neglect ourselves to where we pay ourselves last. But in this book, it really dives into paying yourself a profit first and then creating different accounts for you to allocate funds for specific things. So for example, your business savings, your business checkings, your business expenses, your taxes, things like that. I have different accounts for different things, as well as my personal life. I do it on both sides. And then having an accountant analyze your business, analyze those finances, and helping you stick to that financial goal that you want to reach is super, super important. And then not only making money, managing the money and investing the money. That is super, super important. Being able to have a retirement plan, being able to have that not 10-year plan or 50-year plan financially, but having a 100-year plan. So what is your plan after you're gone? What can your kids say that they've been able to inherit from you? What things can your grandkids been able to say that they are so thankful that you were able to provide these things for them financially? Whether it's property, whether it's other investments, however you choose to invest is super important. That way it goes down into your generations. And then another thing I feel like is super important too is teaching your children about financial literacy. A lot of people fail to teach that. I know for me, my parents didn't teach me how to manage money. They were just trying to make it themselves. So changing that trajectory now for myself and then for my future offspring, my kids, I am super big on making sure that all of the people after me will learn how to manage money, how to have that financial freedom as well. Now, those are the 7 different aspects of life that's been able to help change me and impact me in my business, in my life. So if you're really looking to elevate, remember, sometimes you need to focus on you and do that inner work first before you start your business, before you elevate in your career. So that way you can continuously flourish.